Now, misplaying small pocket pairs is a big leak in most people's games, and I see it all the time, even playing mid stakes. Now, we've got some good stuff to go over in this one. You're going to see one situation with pocket sevens, I would say kind of like midway through, where I made a pretty big play, and, we'll see if it worked out. I don't want to give anything away. Also, I want to point out as we're getting into this, we do have an awesome community. And if you guys are not in it yet, I don't know why you're not in it. That's going to be in the pinned comment. You can talk with me, other high level members. Plus, if you're kind of just struggling, it is a good spot to be. Plus, playing all the time is pretty isolating, and I think it just helps to talk with other people, if you know what I'm saying. Also, you guys could tap the like on this, and we're going to get right into it. But, the first thing I want to talk about, though, is like set mining too wide. You know what I'm talking about. When you kind of like get in there, with like pocket twos, threes, fours, fives, sixes, sevens, and it doesn't make sense to call a certain sizing. You know what I'm saying? If somebody obviously like makes it a little bit difficult to call, and then you're kind of like in a tough spot. Even if the board is pretty, low. Talking like just a bunch of low cards. You don't want to be too wide, okay? It has to make sense. And here's the other thing, overvaluing them post flop. Just because, you started with pocket fives doesn't mean that you call three streets on a board full of overcards. I think that's another problem too when you try to overvalue them and it doesn't make sense. When like a face card hits the flop or turn, right? Also ignoring stack sizes, shoving pocket deuces with 200 big blinds makes no sense. You're also failing to bluff. Sometimes small pocket pairs are better used as semi bluffs or pressure hands. And that's exactly what you're going to see in this when we get to those pocket sevens. So you're going to want to stick around for that. And then obviously also being too predictable. I mean, good regs know how you try to play them for sets. Sometimes limping from early position, even though I do recommend doing that every once in a while. But you can balance your range a little bit and kind of like get more aggressive with them pre-flop. Anyways, these are just some little things, guys. Obviously, small pocket pairs, there's a lot of nuance to playing them. So it's not just like, there's not just one, strategy for this. It's definitely situational as it is with most of, the times you're going to have small pocket pairs. But yeah, I really do want you guys to stick around for this pocket seven situation at the least. You could also message me below any questions, comments, things like that. I'll get back to you for sure. And yeah, man, we're doing this today. All right, we are doing this. All right, so I'm going to be bluffing a lot to start this off. You're going to see me really throwing out some bluffs here, and for the most part, things are working out. I'm applying a lot of pressure. The way I approach playing is definitely going to be a little bit different than other people because, what I'm trying to do when I'm doing this is like I'm just trying to exploit the opponents at the table who are trying to use GTO or, kind of just sit back, and play like an ABC style. You can get away with some of that stuff when you're playing like the really low games, but as you start to move up, you have to kind of deviate from that. And I talk about it all the time because it is the reality, okay? It's just the reality of it, and it is what it is. All right, here we had a 7-6 suited. I did open here. I just felt like, why not, right? Why not? And, nothing there, okay? So pretty much what you've seen so far is me just kind of being aggressive and bluffing, right? That's about it so far, but it's gonna get interesting here for sure. All right, Jack 5, just gonna muck this one. Mucking the Jack 5. We ain't playing it. All right, back over to player 2, player 3. Let's take a look at the table. So everyone's actually like, no one's doing too good right now. Everyone's kind of just where they're at, so nothing going on just yet. Actually, we're doing the best right now at the moment. All right, 7-10 suited. Between 7-10 and 8-10, I just really like playing this one. So I'm gonna open it up here to the 1250 piece. Why not? Right, you can actually see everyone's playing pretty tight at this table so far, and I just picked up on that like right away. All right, back over to player 2, taking his time here. Not much to think about. All right, we're going to get called down by player 5, and, straight draw. 9 or ace, basically, but I'm going to continue here anyways. if we got in a situation where this guy just shoves, I was going to call him anyways. But check out the turn card. We were going to get there with the 9. Oh, 7-10 in effect right there. It happened, right? All right, king 4 folding. I also feel like everything I've played so far, we've kind of just outplayed everybody. Which feels good. Okay, definitely feels good. All right, player 5. I'm surprised player 4 didn't call right there. You know, you think he would have, but I guess not. So, whatever. All right, 5-3. Look at this. Opening with the 5-3 suited. You know, got to do it, right? You got to do it. A reason, too, I was kind of opening up so much, even with a garbage hand like this, from first to act, is everyone was playing so tight. Okay, actually, here we go. Another situation where, you know, maybe we did turn the jack of spades. So we have some straight draws to the 4 and the 8 and the spade draw. We completely bricked here, but I actually didn't give up. Check this out. Going for the pot size with absolute error, and I mean, look at that, man. Everything just blurfing, just blurfing, and it's just going our way, okay? All right, so we're at a queen 9 in the big. I'm pretty sure I defended here. It is offsuit, but we are in the big here, so I mean, why not? All right, never mind. Now we folded it. Player 4 kicked it up to the 35 piece, kind of gave us an easy decision here, which was to just muck it back over to player 2, who got out of the way too. So really just nothing going on just yet. But we, like I said, we got 7s coming up, you know, and we're going to make it happen. All right, easy fold right there with the 8-3 off. Got to imagine anyone putting something out is going to take this down. I really thought player 5 had it, but player 2 is going to go for the min here. That was kind of funny how that one played out, but whatever. Okay, is this it? I think this is 7s. All right, thought process time. You know, small pocket pair. What do we do here? All right, but yeah, I mean, we're in the big blind with 7s. You know, nice hand to have. Player 4, I think, is going to open here. And you'll see exactly why I kind of had this tricky decision to make post flop. All right, he's going to kick it up to the 1250 piece. Player 5 is going to... Player 5 didn't have a whole lot left, okay? Let's just look at that, right? Player 5 is going to make the call back over to player 6 and then us. And, you know, we're not going to raise here. I'm just going to defend. Raising doesn't make sense. All right, player 6 taking his time here. Not much to think about. Come on, player 6. All right, he finally let it go and then back over to us, which is just to defend. And now let's take a look at this flop, which, what do we do? I mean, I checked it first because we still have player 4 to act 2 opened, and then you got player 5. Flush draw out there. And that's about it. Not worried about somebody having a pair of sixes. I mean, there could be some overpairs to this board, which would not be too good for us, especially if player 4 had an overpair. Now, it's hard for me to put him on that just yet. Okay. He's going to open the 25 piece here, which is reasonable. Player 5, though, and this is where we had to make a decision, right? He's going to raise it. Do we call, do we fold, or do we shove? I actually went with option C. What I'm trying to do here is get player 4 off this. I think player 5, if anything, maybe has some kind of like weird draw. Maybe he paired the 4. I don't know. But I think this looks really strong, and that's what I was trying to get player 4 off of. Player 5 is going to make the call, and, you know, not really surprised by this. We're going to be in good shape here going to the turn and river. Dodged it. We just need to dodge one more card, and I believe it was, what, a 6 that hit the river here? Okay, nice. So, yeah, we took it down right there, and that was just one of those tricky spots with, like, a small pocket pair where what do you do? And that's what I did. But I still got a couple other hands to go over in this. We got pocket aces coming up in a second where kind of dealing with some more aggression. You'll see what I'm saying. But, yeah, I mean, let me know. Did you guys like that, how I, played sevens there? I mean, I did. I know that might have been a little bit risky considering that we didn't really know what the other guy had, but I felt pretty confident in the play against, the other dude. So, yeah, I mean, it worked out, right? Dodged that ace, dodged that 4, and could kind of wipe the sweat off my brow after that, but, I still like the play for sure. All right, queen 5 off here, just folded it. And next time we had pocket aces, which another flop where I was kind of like, ugh. It's like it's never easy. All right, aces, just going to open here. I'm just hoping somebody raises us. Now, we were three-handed for a little bit here, so we kind of had to wait a little bit before we got the full table back, but we did. Player 4 is just going to call, and we're going to take a flop. And the flop, to be fair, wasn't, I mean, I wasn't too... feeling too good about it, but we have aces here. We can't really just kind of like let this check, so I'm going to open here. Continue, throw a little 13 piece out there, see what he does, and he's going to raise us. And you know what? It's not like we're folding here. It's just a call. I just don't like this flop for pocket aces, and can you blame me? Would have been much better if it was like a 5-8 deuce, all different suit type of board. But here we are with aces. And I'm thinking too, like, this guy could be raising us with a lot of like 9-8 type of hands, maybe 8-6s, things like that. He doesn't necessarily have to have 2-pair. Plus there's a heart draw out there, but we're blocking the hearts. Turn card was a 10. I think that card was not going to change a whole lot. He checked it, which I did like seeing. And we took the river, which was a 3. I felt pretty good here, unless he was slow playing some kind of monster. But, we're never folding here. He's going to try to throw out some thin value. Can't really raise this, but calling is obviously the play. And he actually turned over Jack 10. So, yeah, anyways. All right, that's going to kind of wrap things up. There's a couple more hands if you guys want to watch, but here's the deal, man. If you're not in our community, like I said, it is time to get in it. That's going to be in the pinned comment. Subscribe if you haven't. Tap that like if you've made it to the end here, and we'll see you in the next one.